Welcome to Nuke's Fitness Podcast. My name is Manouk Vink, and after having struggled with my body image and my fitness journey for more than 10 years, leading me to all sorts of extremes, I have now finally cracked the code on how you can achieve a fit and toned physique without extremes and restrictions. Now, being a certified nutritionist and personal trainer, I have made it my mission to help women achieve their body goals by feeling empowered through fitness instead of being afraid of foods and being controlled by the fitness industry. In this podcast, I will be sharing with you tried and true methods on how you can finally achieve your dream body and tell you the secrets most coaches won't. So if you are tired of working your ass off without getting results, or you feel like you're putting in all the work but not seeing change in the mirror, this podcast is for you. I will be dropping some fitness truth bombs so you can start taking control of your body goals while still enjoying life. Thank you so much for listening and enjoy the show. Hello, everybody, and welcome. The fact that you're here and you're listening to the 5th episode of Nuke's Fitness Podcast is such a blessing to me. I am so grateful for whoever is listening to this, and I hope you're getting so much value out of it because there's so much more to come. I've got some really awesome guests lined up for the next few weeks or in the next couple of months, and I can't wait to share all these wonderful people with you guys. But today it's just me. Today you are just going to have to do with little old me. So today we are going to talk about a topic that comes up a lot, and it comes up even when you don't think it does. And it's also something that is very important when you get clear on your fitness goal, and also when you get clear on what it is that you want to achieve when it comes to fitness. So what we're going to be talking about is weight loss versus fat loss. And the reason we are going to be talking about this today is because you might be aspiring to lose weight when that is not actually what you want to achieve. And you might be thinking right now, okay, Manouk, what the hell? I do want to achieve that. I want to achieve weight loss. You might be wrong, because it could very well be that at the current weight that you are at today, you could be very happy, but all you need to do is lose fat, not weight. And so we are going to dive into why that is and what I mean by this. So let me take you back to when I first started out in my fitness journey. I remember wanting to lose weight. That is the only thing that I was focusing on. And when you look around yourself, and when you look at ads, and when you look at TV programs, and when you look at diet programs, all they're promising you most of the time is weight loss. And for some reason, we are so focused on weight loss when you might not need to lose weight, but you do need to lose fat. And there is a difference between these two. There is a big difference between weight loss and fat loss. So when I first started out, if you listen to my previous podcasts, I explained that I was aspiring to look like a Victoria's Secret model. So I thought I needed to be skinnier, right? And I also believed I needed to be toned. So I thought I needed to lose weight. And what I was not clear on was the fact that I needed to build muscle. And I explained this in my previous podcast as well, because you cannot achieve a toned physique without muscle. So I very quickly found out that I wasn't necessarily looking to lose weight, but I was looking to lose fat. And it took me a while to understand this because we are so focused on the number on the scale. And I'd be lying if I said that the number on the scale didn't haunt me for many years, even after figuring this out, because it is so emotionally ingrained in us that if the number on the scale represents something that we're happy with, that means we've achieved our goals. But today I'm going to try and shift your belief in that, because the number on the scale is not the only measurement you should be looking at, because we're not always only looking to lose weight. If you are overweight and you're really struggling with your weight, then that is a different topic. But I am speaking to those of you who are focusing on weight loss when you should be focusing on fat loss. And we're going to be discussing the difference between the two. So, like I said, in the fitness industry and in diet culture, they're all aiming at you to lose weight. And so when we think of weight loss, we think of everything that has to do with weight loss. So that means losing muscle, losing fat, losing anything that carries weight on your body. That is what weight loss means. And when we look at weight loss, there are so many things that have an effect on weight loss. So I'm sure there are some of you listening to this right now that step on the scale every day hoping to see a different number. And the reason that is dangerous is because there are so many things that influence weight loss and that can fluctuate your weight. So I'm not talking about fat, but your weight. And we very quickly equate that to fat loss. So let me give you an example. If one morning you wake up and you step on the scale and you are 1 kilo heavier than the day before, I remember having massive breakdowns that would create my whole mood when I found out that I was heavier than the day before. And it would ruin my day. It would make me look at myself differently throughout the day. So even though I probably looked exactly the same the day before, just because I saw a kilo extra on the scale, I immediately thought that I was a kilo heavier and therefore I was fat, right? I'm sure you guys can identify with that. Your body dysmorphia starts kicking in. You start seeing things that aren't there, or you start emphasizing things that are there. So just because that number on that scale is different, you immediately start looking at yourself differently. And we're going to talk about that for a little bit, because you cannot gain 1 kilo of fat in one day. That is not possible. A kilo of fat is what? I can't think of the word. Oh my God. Is accumulated over a few days or weeks even, or months. It's not like within one day of eating unhealthy foods, you gain a kilo of fat. That does not work like that. But what can happen is if you had a bad diet the night before, or you had a few drinks the night before, or it's that time of the month, it could be that you're holding on to water. And when you're retaining water in your body, it could be that that is the extra kilo on the scale. So weight and fat are two different components. Just because you're 1 kilo heavier on the scale does not mean you gained a kilo of fat. You probably just are holding on to water, and therefore your weight is heavier on the scale. So weight loss and fat loss are two separate things, because you could be losing weight, but you might not be losing fat, or you could be gaining weight, but it won't be fat. It doesn't necessarily mean that what you're gaining is fat. So that's where you need to make a distinguishment between the two. And that's where we need to emotionally detach from the scale. Because if you are so focused on the number on the scale, then you might be blocking yourself from actually achieving the goals you want to achieve. Because maybe your dream body is at the weight that you are at now, just with more muscle and less fat. And the only way to get there is to gain muscle and to lose fat, not weight. Does that make sense? So let me try and simplify it a little bit. When we're looking to lose weight, like I said before, I'm just going to recap a little bit. When we're looking to lose weight, we are looking to lose overall body weight. And when we're talking about overall body weight, we're talking about muscle and fat and anything that is making our body heavier. When you go to the bathroom, you will already lose weight. Does that make sense? So if you wake up and you have not been to the bathroom yet, and you step on the scale, you will be heavier than after you go to the bathroom. So that will already increase your weight loss, right? But does that mean you've lost fat in that time? No. So that's where there is a difference. When we're talking about fat loss, and I think a lot of you are looking to lose fat, not necessarily weight. When we're talking about fat loss, it could very well mean that you are going to be at the same weight or not lose as much weight as you expect, because you will be gaining muscle and losing fat at exactly the same time, or you will just be gaining muscle. Yeah, you will just be losing fat. So when we're trying to achieve weight loss, what happens a lot of the time, we get misguided. So we get taught that we need to do everything that we can to lose weight. So we need to eat less, we need to move our body more, and then we will lose weight, correct? But if we are not focusing on losing fat and we're just focusing on losing weight, you might not achieve the shape that you want. Because if you're looking to tone up your body and you're only focusing on losing weight, then you are not focusing on the part that is looking for you to build muscle, that is looking for you to build lean muscle mass. And with building lean muscle mass, there might be weight gain in the muscle department. So if you're just looking to lose weight, then you're not focusing on muscle retention, or you're not focusing on getting a toned or sculpted look. You are just looking to lose weight in general. So that's where there is a difference. And we also need to understand that weight loss encompasses everything that carries weight in our body. When we're looking at fat loss, there is a different approach. So fat loss is where you want to maintain muscle. Most of the time, it is where you want to maintain muscle. You don't want to lose muscle. You want to lose fat on your body. So in this approach, you're looking to maintain your muscle mass / build your muscle mass and burn fat. And when we do something like that, that's when you're starting to recomposition your body or change your physique. So with that approach, when you're looking to lose fat but not muscle, you're going to look at different components. So instead of just burning as many calories as possible, you're going to look at how can I build muscle? How can I maintain muscle while still burning fat? What diet do I need to follow? What exercises do I need to do? And so what happens is you're going to have a more structured approach when you're looking to burn fat. So if I have Jane, for example, and she wants to burn fat and she wants to build muscle, what I would tell Jane is that she shouldn't do extreme cardio sessions and just eat as little as possible, because then Jane is not going to achieve her results. If she's only focusing on eating as little as possible and she's not focusing on the macros that she should be getting in, so she's not focusing on her protein intake, her carb intake, and her fat intake, and she's just doing all kinds of exercises just so that she will lose weight, then Jane isn't going to succeed at her goals, because she's just doing anything to expend energy and burn energy. And that doesn't mean that she's necessarily burning fat alone. And that is just her focusing on the weight loss goal. And that's where you get stuck a lot of the time. Because when you do this, you get stuck in this cycle of just trying anything and everything to burn as much as possible. And when you do this, you're not going to get the result that you want. So instead, I would tell Jane, okay, Jane, we need to look at your macros. We need to look at what you're eating. Are you getting enough protein in to maintain and restore your muscles? And are you strength training? Because if you're not following a strength training regime, then you're not building muscle. And when you're not building muscle, you're not going to get the toned physique that you want. Because without muscle, you won't get the toned look. It's the muscles that will give you the lines and the definition in your body. If you're just losing weight, then you won't necessarily get the toned physique. What you'll get instead is you won't get much shape. So if you think of a runner, for example, I'm not saying anything bad about runners, but if you think of the typical runner's body, a lot of the time they're very slender, they're very lean. There's not a lot of like shape in the glute area, in their arms. It's very lean and slender. And that is because, and yes, they will have muscle underneath, but that is because they are focusing on cardio only. So they're doing so much running that they just get this slender body. If you are looking at a bikini fitness model or someone who has more glutes, more definition in her arms, things like this, and more of an hourglass figure, a lot of the time that is due to strength training. And even in both components, so if you're looking at a runner, they also need to eat a lot of protein to maintain their muscles. If they're not maintaining their muscles, they're going to lose all stability and strength, and they're going to lose weight all over. And we don't want to lose weight all over if we want to be stronger and if we want to be fitter. Because when we lose weight all over, that means you're also losing muscle mass. And to stay younger and fitter and stronger, you need muscle mass. And to gain muscle mass, you need to do some sort of strength training. Because if you don't have enough muscle mass, then you will become more frail. Your joints won't become as strong. You will age quicker. You need to maintain that muscle mass, because I think as of the age of 30 or 40, your muscle mass starts decreasing. So the danger with just focusing on weight loss is that you're not focusing on maintaining your muscles. You're just focusing on that number on the scale going down. And that number on the scale means nothing if you're not achieving the body that you want to achieve. So you could have person A and person B both at 80 kilograms. One could look extremely fit and the other could look flabby and unfit. And then I ask you, if it's at the same weight, but the one looks extremely fit, has no fat on her body, has amazing glutes and lines in her arms, and the other is unfit, flabby, and kind of soft, what body do you aspire to become, even if the weight is the same? So in this example, where one person is extremely fit and the other person is very unfit and has no muscle mass and no definition in her body whatsoever, just a little bit of fat mass, then is it actually the weight loss that you're after, or is it the fat loss that you're after? So that's where you get these two people with exactly the same weight, but with completely different body types. And let's just pretend they also are the same height. So that's where this becomes a very different approach. You need a different approach for the two of them. And to focus on fat loss versus just weight loss, you need to get your nutrients in order and you need to get your strength training in order. And as I mentioned this before, to do this, you need to follow a structured strength training regime, and you need to make sure that you're getting enough rest, you're getting enough proteins in to maintain your muscles. A lot of you who are listening to this are wanting to lose fat and tone up their body. And when you focus on this and you're not using the right approach, you're not going to get the results that you want. And then you're going to end up being deflated, exhausted, and wanting to give up because you feel like you're doing everything right to lose weight, but you're not getting the results you want. And that is because you're not focusing on the maintaining of the muscles and losing of fat. So in order to get the better results, we need to let go of this ideal weight. And we need to start focusing on the ideal shape you want to be. And we need to start focusing on measurements, focus on progress pictures. So instead of just focusing on the weight on the scale, try and focus on how do your clothes fit? take progress pictures from when you started to a few weeks from then. And you will see that maybe even if you've only lost half a kilo or you're at the same weight, you will look completely different. And that's because you've gained muscle and you lost fat, which means you're making progress. So just because you're not losing weight does not mean you're not making progress. You could be losing fat and gaining muscle and actually achieving the look that you were going for in the first place. So I urge you to get clear on whether you just want to lose weight, whether you want to lose fat, whether you want to tone up. Get clear on what image you have of your future self. And can you then emotionally detach from the weight on the scale and focus more on what your body type look like? Because I'll ask you this question. If you're thinking right now, I want to lose weight, I want to ask you this question. What if you had exactly the same weight on the scale, but you looked like the version of yourself that you wanted to be? So what if you had a more sculpted look, you lost some fat, but you were the exact same weight on the scale? Would you say that you made progress and you're getting closer to your dream body, or do you feel like you still failed at that point? And so if when I ask you that question, you think, yeah, I don't care about the weight on the scale, I care about how I look at the end of the day, then that means you might be focusing on the wrong thing. So I hope my example is clear. I hope that this example of what I'm talking about is clear. And to just give you a little bit of extra information on this and take it back to when I started out, I think I was so focused on losing weight. So when I first started out, I was so focused on losing weight, and I think a lot of us are, that we focus too much on that number on the scale and we forget about how we make progress in different areas. And when we latch on to the number on the scale, we are focusing on the wrong thing. You want to focus on how your body is transforming, how your body is changing. Is your waist getting smaller? Are you seeing more definition in your body? Do you feel like you're starting to get stronger? If you're looking to build your glutes, do you feel like your glutes are looking rounder or more filled out? Do you feel like your stomach is getting flatter? Are you starting to see your abs? But is the scale weight the same? Then you're still making progress. Weight loss and fat loss are two completely separate things. And you need to get clear on which of those two you want to achieve. I would always vouch for fat loss because we need muscle to stay young, strong, and fit. And to achieve that toned bikini body that you're looking for. So focus on your strength training regime, because the more muscle you have, the more fat you burn. Make sure you're getting your proteins in, because proteins is the macro, that is going to maintain and build your muscles. Without enough protein, you're not going to be able to maintain your muscles. So even if you're on a weight loss journey, focus on those proteins, because we don't want our muscles to deteriorate. We need them to be maintained. Plus, eating more protein helps burn more calories because it has a higher thermogenic effect. So our body works harder to break down protein than any other macro, which means your body is already burning more energy trying to break down proteins. So you're burning slightly, it's a small percentage, but it still helps, slightly more calories than if you were to focus on any other macro. And when you focus on increasing your protein intake and following a structured workout routine that is focused on strength training, you will start seeing the change in your body. You will start sculpting your body. You will burn fat and start to build muscle, which leads to that toned physique. Don't worry, you're not going to look like Arnold Schwarzenegger. You need to eat a shit ton of food and probably use some supplements to look like Arnold Schwarzenegger as a woman or even as a man. So to get the lean physique you're looking for, these are the two things that you need to be focusing on: protein and strength training. Weight loss is something different. If you're only focusing on the scale number and you're wasting your time finding exercises that burn as many calories as possible, you're probably wasting your time because you won't get the shape that you want. You will just be burning energy and you might be losing weight, but are you really getting the sculpted look that you are striving for? Because weight loss can happen by just going to the bathroom. Weight gain can happen by it just being the time of the month. It has nothing to do with you gaining fat or losing fat. So many factors influence your weight loss or weight gain, and they have nothing to do with you making progress. Unless, of course, over a long period of time, you're losing body weight. And then, of course, we still want to focus on losing fat. We don't want to focus on losing muscle mass. We want to focus on losing fat mainly and building muscle so that you can have that toned physique. That is what I want to give to you today. And if I knew this when I started out on my fitness journey, it would have saved me so much energy trying to find the exercises that burn the most calories, because they're not going to get you anywhere. It's not going to get you the body that you're looking for just by focusing on weight loss. You want to focus on your specific goal and then work towards that goal with the right diet and the right training regime, and focus on fat loss. Focus on fat loss, not weight loss. And if you want help doing this, you can start with me today for free. Just join my free 5-day Dream Body Challenge, where we will cover 5 things to help you on your fat loss journey and finally help you start toning up your body so that you can sculpt your body for the summer, or so that you can rock your bikini body this summer. So if you want to do that, I'm linking up the link in the show notes so that you can start for free today. It is 5 short coaching sessions with assignments and workouts so that you can get started on achieving your body goals today. That is what I want to leave you with, and I hope it was clear. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact me. You can find all my information in the show notes below. And yeah, let's get clear on the difference between weight loss and fat loss. Thank you so much for listening. And if you have any tips or advice or questions regarding fitness, nutrition, strength training, stay tuned and listen to this podcast. If you have any questions that you want me to answer on the podcast, just DM me on my Instagram or send me an email at info@nukesfitness.com, and I will be so happy to answer all your questions. Thank you so much for listening again, and I can't wait to see you in the next episode of Nuke's Fitness Podcast. This was a short one. It was a valuable one. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you next week. If you enjoyed listening to this podcast and you feel like you got a lot of value out of it, it would mean the world to me if you would rate and review the podcast and share it with someone who you feel like would get a lot of value out of it. In the meantime, come hang out with me on my Instagram @ManoukFink, or join my free challenge, which will be linked in the show notes. It's academy.nukesfitness.com/join-challenge. If you can't remember that name, check the links in the show notes, and I hope to see you there.